Also, go live. All right, we're here. Welcome, YouTube. Got Audacity up. Facebook should be coming shortly, and Facebook's up. Good morning. What is up, Facebook? What is up, YouTube? And what is up, me? All right, let's get this shared since it's a little later than. Here we go. Share pics. Turkey pics. No. Um, I don't know. Cyber Sunday. Sure. Post. All right. Welcome aboard. NFL Picks edition of the What Had Happened Was podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dondarski. Going through a Thanksgiving edition here. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. It's been a pretty hectic weekend for this family. I'll tell you what. We had Thursday Thanksgiving at Lindsay's in-laws. We had Saturday Thanksgiving with my parents. We went to see a play on Friday. Went to see some friends last night. It's been quite the hectic day, so I'm looking forward to a very, very lazy Sunday. All right, so I went 1-2 on Thanksgiving. Detroit +3, Dallas -7, Atlanta +12.5. The Lions really shit the bed. The Bears with no Mitchell Trubisky did look pretty good. Their defense carried them again. They got a pick 6 that really kind of sealed the deal there. And then Matt Stafford threw another interception in the end zone and kind of ended the game. I don't know. The Bears are a tough read because they're a really good team, but I think they could be the team. Like, you know how there's a team every year that like has a great season and then come playoff time, they just get destroyed in the playoffs. I think the Bears could be that team this year where they have a pretty good year. And then it just, for whatever reason, falls apart in the playoffs. Their defense obviously can travel. They can get a home game at Soldier Field in the cold. Obviously, that will help. I don't know that they're going to be able to do that with the way the Saints are playing and with the way the Rams are playing. They're just, I don't know that they'll be able to catch either of those two teams. And get home field, because if you play in LA or you play in a dome, obviously the defense still matters, but it doesn't matter as much when it's perfect conditions, perfect climate. The defense can't be as effective as they could be in a colder climate or a wet game. Hey now, some like it hot and some like it cold. Like I'm in a pod 9 days old. Talking about peas, yeah. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Like now I'm juvenile, yeah. End every sentence, yeah. Gonna talk like this, yeah, for the whole time, yeah. No, I can't do that. That'd be annoying to even me. Atlanta +12.5. I definitely thought they were going to lose. I just thought they were going to be able to score late to keep it within that 12.5 scoreline. Did not happen. That Saints defense looks like it is coming around. It's looking more and more legitimate each and every week. The Cowboys, you know, they went up against the Skins, coming like 4 days off of the Alex Smith gross ass broken leg. That went pretty much as expected. The Redskins did make it close there at the end, a little closer than I think most Cowboys fans would have liked, but at least it was Thanksgiving. There was one good game there, you know, right about when everyone was either eating or getting done eating. So that was nice that there was at least a game that was, you know, able to be exciting or followed, I guess, because this week kind of has some shit games, quite honestly. A lot of the country, there's going to be a lot of East Coast bias this week. Like a lot of the country is unfortunately going to see Jets Patriots. In this region, Sussex County, Delaware, we get treated to Ravens Raiders. Yippee! Should be fun. Lamar Jackson takes on Derek Carr. Other parts of the country are, like I said, going to be seeing their local teams, but for the most part, the two big games are Jets Patriots and then Eagles Giants, which at the beginning of the year, I'm sure the networks were excited about that. However, now it's not looking like that's what people wanted. Denver Pittsburgh is obviously going to be televised at 425 as well. But the two games with the most, I guess you could say, coverage miles are Jets, Patriots, Eagles, Giants, and then obviously, like I said, Broncos and Steelers. But let's get to these games. Enough about the TV coverage. To these games this week, we have Josh Allen returning. The Josh Allen returns to take on the Jalen Ramsey, who talked a bunch of shit on him and a bunch of different quarterbacks in his GQ little magazine article, which I made a shit ton of a deal about last week when the Jags were playing the Steelers, and all Jalen Ramsey did was went out and picked off Big Ben twice. Once seemed like it was Antonio Brown's fault, but Jalen Ramsey backed up his shit talking. Is he the type of guy I'd like to hang out with? Probably not. He seems like quite the arrogant asshole, but he's the guy I want on my football team 100 times out of 100. Guy can just play corner. He's as close to a lockdown corner as you're going to get in the league today. So, I mean, I don't know what more you want from a guy in a league where the defenders really can't touch the players anymore. It's hard for them to even jam them without getting penalties. And he still puts forth a pretty solid effort. Like, it's not like the Darrelle Revis days where you could just shut a guy. It's not happening anymore in the NFL. And that seems like it was forever ago. And it was just, 5-6 years ago that Revis was terrorizing defenses or offenses. But I digress. I'm going to take Jacksonville -3. I do not know where this line started. I've not been really following all week. It's been, like I said, a crazy week. So I'm going to go Jacksonville -3 in that game for the simple fact that the Bills have looked bad. The Jags season is all but over. So this could be a rough spot for them where they've just kind of given up, and who gives a shit? It's in Buffalo. It's cold. Who cares? We don't want to be here. Let's just get out of here. But I think the Jags have more pride than that. I think they'll come out. They'll put up a nice little showing, especially on defense. Maybe they'll turn Josh Allen over a couple times. Give me the Jags -3, which leads us into another kind of a stinker of a game. You got the Browns going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Baker Mayfield is the one redeeming thing about this Browns season. He really looks like they've found a quarterback. It's hard to say, will a guy turn into like Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, although Carson Wentz looks like shit this year. So it's just funny how your opinion on a quarterback can change so wildly from one year to the next. Like Deshaun Watson looked great for 7 games, and he looked really shitty at the beginning of this year. Now he's looking like he's turning it back on. He's turned a corner. It's just so hard to really, put a final judgment on these quarterbacks when they're so young. It's almost I like doing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to give my opinion and talk shit on them when they play poorly. But I do think the Browns have found a guy in Baker Mayfield. He just has that quote unquote it factor, that little bit of swagger. I don't know that it helps them win games, but he definitely looks like he belongs, and he acts the part, which is nice. You want to see a guy who's not afraid to grab his dick on the sideline and tell the other team to suck it, like he does from time to time. So I'm going to take Cleveland +1, mainly because AJ Green is not playing and the Bengals have not looked the same without him. I mean, I don't know. It's not official that he's not playing, but all signs are pointing to the fact that he's not going to play. So give me Cleveland +1 in that game. They'll wreck their draft picks. That's kind of where you are at this point in the season. You have teams fighting for the playoff position, and then teams kind of trying not to win, doing their best to play hard but not win. And I think the Browns are going to kind of hurt themselves this week. So I think give me Cleveland +1 in a win there. The Jets, I don't know what's going on in New York. I think Todd Bowles is out of a job, but for some reason they're not firing him. Something's going on with the whole Sam Darnold situation. He's been saying he's fine now for about 2 weeks, and for whatever reason, the team is still not trotting him out there. He's not going to play today against the Patriots. Tom Brady, I think, was listed as questionable. Rob Gronkowski listed as questionable, but both of them are probably going to play. The Patriots, for that reason, with those two guys in, are an 11-point favorite on the road, which is a lot of points, especially when they looked so terrible against the Titans. I mean, the Titans have been the up and down team of the year. Like 1 week, they'll come out and they'll just stuff it down the Patriots' throat and beat them by 2 touchdowns. And the next week, they'll come out and get it stuffed down their throats and look like dog shit. So who knows which will the real Titans please stand up? I'm Slim Shady, I'm the real Shady. Anytime you can get an Eminem reference in here, we're going to do it. But no, I just don't know what to make of the Titans. The Patriots are the Patriots. They're going to win the AFC East. They're going to represent the AFC East. I do not think they're Super Bowl contenders this year, but I guess that remains to be seen. I don't know. I just have a feeling they're not going to get that home field advantage, and you go to Kansas City or you go to Pittsburgh and you're going to probably struggle there. Anyway, today they're going to win the game. Are they going to win by 11? I don't know. I believe so. So I'm going to take New England -11. I just don't think the Jets have enough offense to get things going. But one thing I will say, the Jets do tend to play the Patriots really well one game and then really shittily one game. We'll just see which one it is today. Usually they can shut down their wide receivers, kind of confuse Brady a little bit in the middle, And then the next game, Brady figures him out and puts up like 65 points on him. I think today's the game where the Patriots do kind of keep it close to the vest, but still win pretty big because the Jets just really are not there yet on offense. Their offensive line is above average. Josh McCown at quarterback is a 40-year-old man out there trying to do what he can. Their wide receivers are above average, but there's just a lot of one-trick ponies. So they have Robbie Anderson, who can stretch the field. He's really, really fast. They have Quincy Enunwa, who's kind of a gadget guy. He's more of a slot wide receiver, but he's got some speed as well. But they don't really have a true number one. They definitely don't have a true number one running back. Isaiah Crowell, 1 week he'll put up 250 yards. The next week he'll put up 30. So he's just too inconsistent. So I think the Patriots at -11 is a pretty safe bet, which takes us to the other East Coast game that, a lot of people in this area will be watching, even though both teams' seasons are likely over. I mean, look, Alex Smith going out gave every team in the NFC East a renewed sense of hope. The Cowboys took advantage of that on Thanksgiving, and they have put themselves firmly in the driver's seat for the NFC East. I don't think there's any denying that. However, the Eagles are a 4.5-point favorite against the Giants. If they can get this win and kind of start to turn their season around, I don't think the Eagles are good enough to be a Super Bowl contender again this year. But, if they get into the playoffs, who the hell knows? Maybe they get hot again. They get some guys back that are kind of banged up. Their whole secondary has been banged up. I do think 4.5 is a big line for them because I think the Giants are going to be able to move the ball against them. The Eagles are beat up on D, especially at corner. Fletcher Cox in the middle, Brandon Graham on the outside has not looked great. Their defensive line is not what it was last year. They brought in Michael Bennett. Chris Long's a year older, and it just hasn't worked out for whatever reason. I don't know. This line scares me, but I'm going to take the Eagles -4.5. Hopefully Carson Wentz can find Zach Ertz a few times. The Giants do have some real bad linebackers, so that's kind of my whole. I'm literally hanging my hat on the fact that the Giants have shitty linebackers, and maybe Zach Ertz can have a day because the Saints were able to shut him down, and the Eagles just got fucking embarrassed. Like that was bad. I wasn't even an Eagles fan, and I was embarrassed. It was like, Jesus Christ, this looks like fucking college versus the pros here. Like, you thought the Eagles would at least be able to keep up and kind of score some points, but no, they just got fucking their pants pulled down on national television by the Saints. Someone else who's gotten their pants pulled down on national television is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's back to the bench. 49ers travel to Tampa. Who's having a worse Thanksgiving? Reuben Foster or Dwight Howard? Not sure if anybody saw, but Reuben Foster was once again arrested for domestic violence. We'll see if the charges stick this time. Got to think he's done. He's been hurt all year. The Niners got to be tired of his shit. At this point, even if the charges get dropped again like they did last time, you have to imagine that the Niners are just going to be over it. The production isn't really there on the field anymore. He had a really good rookie year. This year he's been injured, and when he's been on the field, he's been missing tackles, quite frankly. So I just don't know that he's going to be back. So he's probably played his last game in San Fran. Go ahead and ship him up to New England, where he'll fucking become an all-pro for the next 10 years because that's what they do. New England takes all these guys with kind of spotty records, hope they don't become murderers. Every once in a while, one becomes a murderer, but then we get to talk about the Patriot way on the newscast. Oh, it's the Patriot way. They just convince so many guys to play. It's like, no, they turn a blind eye to a lot of shit, and a guy like Josh Gordon can come in there and play. And Bill Belichick wants him on a field because he's a goddamn good football player. He's going to put up with the nonsense. They're just not going to talk about it. That's really what happens. The Patriots are really good at getting shit in-house. Like, there's dysfunction there. There's people pissed at Belichick. There's people pissed at Kraft. There's all kinds of dissension on every single team. You can't have grown-ass men in a locker room and not have dissension. The Patriots are just the best team at keeping it in-house. There's no kind of Patriot way. If there's anything that the Patriot way is, it's covering shit up. You literally had a murderer on your team. Like a full-blown gang member was playing tight end for you who ended up killing multiple people. And I'm supposed to believe that Bill Belichick has some sort of way of keeping people in line or keeping people in check. No, they just don't say shit to the media. They go about their business, and it just gets underreported. So when Reuben Foster comes in there, he'll still be beating the shit out of his girlfriend. He just won't be getting asked the questions, and it won't be getting talked about in the media because they inoculate them from that. They get enough of those. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Oh, we're on to Matt Patricia has taken that on into Detroit, and he's not done anything to earn that. It's kind of annoying. Like Belichick, at least he has the rings to back it up. He can be like, fuck you, media, basically. But Matt Patricia is a fucking dick, and his team shit. He's won 4 games in his entire career, and I get it's only been 3/4 of a season, but the guy it comes across now like he's telling reporters to sit up straight and I'm going to practice in the snow, and then he gets all snarky after the game. Like, get a fucking clue, dude. You've won 4 games. Just because you stood next to Bill Belichick does not mean you are Bill Belichick. Eric Mangini, Romeo Crennel, Josh McDaniels, all of those guys have tried to go out on their own, and it hasn't worked. So shut the fuck up. Stop acting like you're some great football coach, and we're supposed to forget about all your creepy shit that happened in your past. So like if Matt Patricia was Reuben Foster, he'd be getting drug in the media. But since he's a coach, it's okay that he was like a weird frat boy that was doing weird shit to people for years. And then he can act like a snarky asshole and no one's going to call him on it. If I was sitting in that reporter's chair when he told me to sit up, I'd say, back up, Tubbs. You don't tell me what to do, you fat bastard. I don't want to fat shame people, but he's pretty disgusting looking. I mean, he's like probably 50 pounds overweight. He needs to shave. His beard is unseemingly, like, it's gross. It's disgusting. I would not. Let me put it to you this way. I would not want to sit near him at like a Chinese buffet. It would be disgusting. It'd be life ruining. It'd be life altering to sit next to him at a Chinese buffet. Like, shit would be falling out of his mouth and on his beard, and he'd probably have like some General Tso's chicken on his belly. Oh man, that'd be rough. Fuck that guy. All right. Anyway, all right. Enough Matt Patricia bashing. We're back to the Niners and Bucks. Reuben Foster. All right. So, okay, you beat up your girlfriend. You're gone from the team, but I'm going to take Jameis Winston and the Buccaneers. I don't know what it is about the Tampa Bay quarterback situation, but basically, if you come in the middle of the third quarter, you're going to be awesome for a quarter and a half. If you start the game, you're going to play like dog shit. So maybe what the Bucs should do is just alternate drives. One drive, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. The next drive is Jameis Winston. And each time the guy comes in for his first drive, they'll be like, oh shit, I got to revive the team and get them going. And they'll just fucking score every single time. I think I've figured out what Dirk Cutter needs to do. Just change the quarterback every other drive and they'll be fine. I do think they win this game. So give me Tampa -2 in this game. And let's see if they try out my theory and just keep rotating quarterbacks back and forth. Panthers and Seahawks, 2 teams that I've not been able to get a read on all year. I think the Panthers are the better team. I don't think either team is that great, though. They both have holes. They both have issues. The Seahawks are bigger frauds, in my opinion, like based on record. I think the Panthers are a pretty good team. They'll probably squeak into the playoffs, especially with what's going on in the NFC East this year. They should be able to have a good enough record to squeak in. The Seahawks, on the other hand, I don't know. They showed up against the Rams both games, and they've won some games. They beat the Packers, who are another team that look like shit. But they're on the road. They don't have the 12th man. Give me the Panthers. The Panthers are a 3-point favorite in this game. If it went up to 3.5, I'd probably take the Seahawks because I genuinely have no clue how to read either of these teams. But give me Carolina -3 in that game. Cam Newton gets the win there. Ravens Raiders, the aforementioned Ravens and Raiders, which is going to be on the television sets here. Luckily, we have the DirecTV package. I don't have to watch that yucky shit. Lamar Jackson, maybe the Ravens shouldn't call 15 draw plays for him. Like, don't get me wrong. The guy took off and ran a couple different times where it wasn't a design for him to run. But for the most part, those runs were designed. I don't know what the Ravens are trying to do because they're not doing him any favors by not letting him throw the ball. Like, he's a quarterback. He's going to have to throw the ball at some point. Let's let him do it while he's out there. I don't understand what they're doing. I get they want to win games. I get they still think they're in the playoff hunt and they want to win a couple games while Flacco's out. But if you win a couple games, Jackson is your quarterback, you have to start thinking, should we just go to him? Should he just be the guy? Or do we need to go back to this old fucking guy with a leaky hip, Joe Flacco? I would say you don't want to go back to Joe Flacco because you know what you have there. You have a mediocre quarterback who you overpaid for a 6-game run. Was it an amazing 6-game run? Yes. But at this point, it's pretty obvious that you overpaid a guy because he won you a Super Bowl, which is fine. But at some point, you have to move on. You got to cut your losses. I don't know what the cap ramifications are exactly for Flacco. I know he's signed a big contract, but I think after this year, if they cut him, they'll still have some dead money, but it won't be nearly as bad as it was these past 2 years. So I'm going to go with the Raiders +12. There's no way I think the Ravens starting a rookie quarterback should be a 12-point favorite. I get that the Ravens are a better team, but 12 points is a lot of points in the NFL. You got to think that even if the Ravens defense is on its game, Jackson's going to turn the ball over once or twice. They're going to try to run the ball out. They're going to try to keep this game close. So give me Oakland plus 12 in that game. Matter of fact, I'd do Oakland plus 12 in the under, try to parlay that if I were a betting man. No doubt. Another big line, but this one's out west. This one's out west. It's not on the East Coast. It's on the West Coast. It's out west. I don't know why I'm talking in this voice, but I am. The Chargers going to take on the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals go into Los Angeles to the StubHub Center in front of like 12 people. Why can't the Chargers draw fans? I watched some of their game against the Broncos last week because I had money on it. Fucking Broncos. It was literally probably 60% Broncos fans. It was so much orange in the stands. It was crazy. And it's only like a 30,000 seat stadium. You got to figure that the Chargers can find 30,000 fans every week, but apparently they can't. They're a 14-point favorite against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are bad. The Chargers are good, but they seem to play to the level of their opponent. I, right now, on my paper, have the Chargers minus 14. I'm going to keep it because they look bad against the Broncos. So you got to think that they got to try to redeem themselves this week. So I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. I don't want to. I'm doing it. LA minus 14. I really want to take Arizona plus 14. I don't want to give 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Chargers are a great team. I think they're a good team, not a great team. And when you're only a good team, you shouldn't be favored by 2 touchdowns. However, they are, and I'm sucked right in. They're sucking me in. I'm going to take that bet. I'm going to regret. I'm the worst that's ever been. Bow, bow, bow. I think I just... Charlie Daniels reference. Let's see how many random references I can get in these last 4 games. All right, they're going into Denver. Pittsburgh is still a 3-point favorite. The Broncos proved that they could run the ball. Philip Lindsay, an undrafted rookie. Every year there's an undrafted rookie running back that like just dominates. And then people wonder why everyone says the Giants were so stupid for taking Saquon Barkley. They were stupid for taking Saquon Barkley because you can get a guy like Philip Lindsay in the 6th, 7th round, undrafted, just pick him up off the streets, put him in there, and he rushes for as many yards, if not more, than Saquon Barkley. Oh, yeah, Broncos have a much better running attack or running line or running game. Whatever you want to say. Cash it however you like. Has Saquon Barkley been phenomenal? Yes, he has. Has he been great? Yes. Will he transcend the shittiness of Eli Manning? No, we've seen that already. So I don't know. I just don't think you can take a running back in the top anymore in today's NFL with everything being so heavily geared toward the passing game. Now, Saquon Barkley is part of their passing game. He catches a lot of passes. I understand all of those arguments. I just don't think you can take a quarter or a running back, anybody who's not a quarterback, cornerback, or edge rusher, or someone who protects the passer, even guards and tackles now. Basically, in the top 5, you want to take your edge rushers, your quarterbacks, your cornerbacks, your tackles, and I guess we could say guards. You're typically not going to take a guard that high, but whatever. Then as you get later back, then you can take the interior D lineman, and then you can take the interior O lineman, and then you're going to take your running backs because it's just been proven time and time again. You can get production at a 4th, 5th, even undrafted rounded guys like James Conner and like Philip Lindsay. You can really, really get these guys later in the drafts and make things work. And this is a battle of 2 running backs who were drafted later in the draft. And I know people say, oh, well, Connor had an illness and he battled cancer and that's why he fell. I get it. I understand that. But the fact of the matter is he still fell. He was still a later round pick, and Philip Lindsay was undrafted, I believe, and these guys are tearing it up. That has nothing to do with my prediction on the game, but it's just my rant about the Giants and why I think they're stupid for taking Saquon Barkley. Pittsburgh minus 3 is the pick for me. I just don't think the Broncos are consistent enough. Yeah, they stuck with the Chargers, but the Chargers have been known, like I said, to play down to their opponents. It was a divisional game. Just give me the Steelers. The Steelers looked awful against the Jags, and I doubt they'll look that bad again. They were lucky to get out of there with a win. Probably the worst game I've ever seen by a team that won. I think it was 16-0, then it was 16-6. The Steelers couldn't convert on a 4th down. James Conner dropped the ball. Then next thing you know, Steelers get the ball back and they go down and they score 2 touchdowns, win the game. It was kind of ridiculous. People were talking about, oh, the NFL's rigged. The NFL's not rigged. Guys get hurt. Guys are running around. There's no way you can rig the NFL. But that was one of the worst games I've seen this year that a team won. They looked like shit. There's no way they can look like shit 2 weeks in a row. They were lucky to get the win last week, but I'm sure they'll take it. Give me the Steelers minus 3 in a bounce back game, even though they won last week. They're going to look better. Indy minus 7.5. The Dolphins are going over to Indy. Another quarter quarterback returns. You had Josh Allen coming back to the Bills. You have Ryan Tannehill coming back to the Dolphins. I do not think the Colts should be a 7.5-point favorite. I'm fully on board the Andrew Luck train. He's been throwing 3 touchdowns every single time he steps on a goddamn field. The guy has convinced me he's real. He's back. This Colts offense is for real. The Colts defense has a few studs on it. I just don't know that they're 7.5 points better. When Ryan Tannehill's on the field, the Dolphins are really good. The problem is he can't stay on the field. He's got this shoulder issue. Will he stay in there the whole game? I don't know. At this point, I don't really think it matters. I think the Dolphins stay within a touchdown of the Colts. Give me the Dolphins plus 7.5, but I do think the Colts win that game and continue their march toward the AFC playoff race. It looks like basically it's going to come down to the Chargers are going to be one of the wild cards, and then probably whoever makes it out of the AFC South, because they're going to beat the hell out of each other. The AFC North looks like it's pretty much done. You got the Bengals, the Ravens kind of jockeying for position. The Dolphins could go a long way toward helping their playoff chances if they can win this game against the Colts. I don't think they do it, but if they can, they go a long way toward helping their playoff chances. Give me Miami plus 7.5, but Indy to win the game. Vikings, Packers, Sunday night, another NFC North Sunday night. Last Sunday night was the Bears and the Vikings, where the Kirk Cousins looked like he wasn't worth $30 million. I'll tell you that much. The guy's good. He can put up stats, but when the game is at its biggest point, he seems to shrink from that moment. I'd hate to say that about a guy that he's not clutch or, LeBron likes to pass it instead of take the game-winning shot. But there is something to be said about a guy who continuously, in big situations, either disappears or doesn't show up. And Kirk Cousins did that a lot at his time in Washington. He was consistently good, consistently putting up huge numbers, but late in games, late in halves, he would take knees instead of spiking the ball. He would throw interceptions. So I don't know. What I'm saying, I guess, is I don't think the Vikings are a Super Bowl contender this year. However, I do think they're better than the Packers. The Packers have had a down year. Aaron Rodgers doesn't call his parents when the fucking fire's right outside their door. I love that we're like finally acknowledging that Aaron Rodgers is a shitty human. He's always been a shitty human. He kind of revealed himself as a shitty human last year after the whole Anthony Barr thing, when Anthony Barr hurt his poor little collarbone and then called him a bad name. And Aaron Rodgers was so butthurt, he went to the media and said, he cursed at me after he hurt me. And come to find out, Aaron Rodgers was the one fucking cursing at him the whole time. Let me fix this a little bit there, show you some shiny head. But no, he's a fucking prick. He's an asshole. I don't know what other term I can use. He's a douchebag. And of course, I want my quarterback to be confident in himself, and I want him to be arrogant, and I want him to think that he can make all the throws, and I want him to think that he's the best player on the field. I get all of those are good traits. But when it comes to being a good human, he sucks at it. He sucks at life. He's a terrible human. He's cut off his family. He had the nerve to make a video basically saying, oh, please donate to the wildfires. All the while, his parents had to evacuate their home because of the wildfires, and he never once called them to ask how they were or help them. Instead of fucking shilling on Twitter for some ducats, you should have sent your parents a goddamn U-Haul or pack rat or something and help them fucking get out of harm's way, you dillweed. I don't know. He just really last year turned me off with the whole Anthony Barr thing when he got hurt, and then he cried about it. And then they changed the goddamn rule for him that's like now it's emphasized like you can't land with your full weight on the quarterback. It burned the Packers twice this year, and then the Packers had the nerve to be mad about it. It's like you're the reason the rule was created, and now you're mad that the rule's being implemented. That sounds like some Republican politician shit. Like, oh wait, we put this rule in, and now people are implementing it and it's hurting us. So fuck that rule. But when we started it, it was a good thing for us. So we wanted it. But now that it's actually, when it's being implemented, it seems not to be a good thing. Wait a minute. Fuck that. So I don't know. Maybe that's where my deep-seated anger is with Aaron Rodgers. It's more of he seems like a Republican politician to me than anything. Anyhow, I think the Vikings are a better team than the Packers. I don't even know where I am. I should crouch. Let me crouch down and make sure I'm in the shot. Oh, let me check. All right, I am in the shot. All right, back up. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to turn you on. All right, there. We're good here. All right, last game. Got to lean forward and get into this here. Monday night, Houston takes on the Titans. The Titans, like I said, have been the most up and down team all goddamn season. I've gotten their games wrong, I think, almost 80% of the time. So why not get it wrong again? I'm going to take Tennessee +4 for no other reason than I think they have a bounce back after their bad game last week. So they seem to play a really bad game, then a really good game. They give up 11 sacks against the Ravens, then they win. They play like shit, then they beat the Patriots. So I think this is their good game week. So I'm going to take Tennessee +4. To recap, we've got Tennessee +4, Minnesota -3.5, Miami +7.5, Pittsburgh -3, the Chargers -14, the Raiders +12, Carolina -3, Tampa Bay -2, Philly -4.5, New England -11, Cleveland +1, Jacksonville -3. I went 1-2 on Thanksgiving. Really got to get back on track here for the season. I'm approaching 100 wins. I'm 88, 69, and 6. Last week I was 500 again. I went 6-6-1. So hopefully this week I won't be able to get to 100, but I can get damn close. Let's try to get to 100 next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm out, but not yet, because I have to pull up the other browser. Okay, now I'm out. Bye.